I always thought that getting rich meant working harder, saving every penny, and just getting lucky. I thought you had to chase money. But what if that's completely backward? What if wealth isn't something you chase at all, but something you become? I decided to test a wild idea from a philosopher named Neville Goddard. For 7 days, I was going to live as if I were already rich, even though the numbers in my bank account told a very different story. This wasn't about spending money I didn't have. It was about changing my mindset. And honestly, the financial shifts that happened in just 1 week were so strange they made me question everything. Let's be real. Before this experiment, my relationship with money was a total mess. It was all anxiety. I was constantly checking my accounts, stressing about bills, and just stuck in a mindset of not enough. I was working hard, but it felt like I was on a financial hamster wheel and getting nowhere. That's when I stumbled upon the teachings of Neville Goddard, a thinker from the mid-20th century who said our imagination literally creates our reality. His main point was simple, but it hit me hard. To change your life, you have to change how you feel inside first. He taught that wealth isn't about what's in your bank account. It's an inner state of being. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. The big idea here is called the law of assumption. Basically, you have to assume the feeling of your wish already being real. So instead of just hoping I'd be wealthy one day, I had to assume that I am wealthy right now. This isn't about faking it. It's a deep internal shift where you start to embody the feelings and thoughts of the person you want to be. So here was my theory. If I could truly live in the feeling of being wealthy for 7 days, my real world had to start reflecting that feeling back to me. It was time to find out if wealth really is just a state of mind. Day 1. The foundation of feeling. The first day was by far the hardest. The second I woke up, my brain went right back to its old habits, a mental list of all the bills, deadlines, and money stress. But this time, I had to stop myself. Instead of letting that anxiety spiral, I just lay in bed and asked, how would a rich person wake up? They wouldn't be worried. They'd wake up feeling peaceful, secure, maybe even a little grateful. So that's what I tried to do. I focused on feeling super grateful for the wealth I had in my imagination. I was thankful for my bed, the roof over my head, everything. My first real test was my morning coffee. Instead of chugging it while doom scrolling on my phone, I actually savored it. I pretended it was some rare, expensive coffee from halfway across the world. It sounds silly, but this tiny change shifted my entire vibe from frantic and needy to calm and appreciative. All day long, whenever a thought about being broke popped into my head, I'd pause and reset myself back to that feeling of security. It was exhausting, like using a muscle for the first time. Nothing crazy happened financially, but the change I felt inside was huge. I felt calmer than I had in years. Day 2. Acting as if. On day 2, I decided to take this act as if thing out into the real world, but without actually spending any money. One of my biggest hang-ups was feeling like I didn't belong in fancy places. So on my lunch break, I walked into a high-end luxury car dealership. Normally, I'd feel like a total fraud, just waiting for someone to kick me out. But my only mission was to walk around and feel like I belonged there. I wasn't there to shop. I was there to feel like someone who could. I walked around, admired the cars, and imagined which one I'd pick. I didn't talk to any single person. I just focused on my inner feeling. I belong here. This is my world. It was surprisingly powerful. That night, I scrolled through luxury real estate listings online, not with that familiar feeling of jealousy, but with the casual attitude of someone just trying to make a decision. I was basically trying to reprogram my brain to accept this new reality. And the weirdest part, that afternoon, I get an email out of the blue from an old colleague. It was about a small freelance project I thought was dead in the water weeks ago. It wasn't a lottery win, but it was the first unexpected money to show up. Day 3, the inner conversation. Neville Goddard always said that the conversations we have in our heads create our lives. We're constantly talking to ourselves, and that inner chatter eventually becomes our reality. I realized my own internal monologue was just a stream of complaints, like gas is so expensive, I can't afford that, I'm working so hard and getting nowhere. On day 3, my only goal was to change that conversation. Every time I caught myself thinking a negative thought about money, I'd stop and revise it. At the grocery store, instead of stressing about the total, I thought, I'm so thankful I have more than enough money for all this amazing food. When I paid a bill, instead of feeling that sting, I thought, thank you for the service. Money goes out, but it always comes back to me. I wasn't denying my reality. I was just refusing to let it be the only story. That night, I was cleaning out my wallet and found a crumpled $50 bill I'd completely forgotten about. It felt like the universe was winking at me, giving me a little reward for changing my tune. Day 4, living in the end. Living in the end is one of Neville's core ideas. It means you mentally live from the place where your dream has already happened. So today, I decided to go all in. I tried scripting, where you write about your life as if your wish has already come true. I opened a journal, dated it a year in the future, and wrote a detailed entry about my amazing life of financial freedom. I wrote about trips I took, debts I'd cleared, and the incredible peace of mind that I felt as if it was happening right now. It's a surprisingly powerful way to talk to your subconscious mind. Later that day, I got an email about a class action lawsuit I vaguely remember joining years ago. A settlement check for $175 was on its way. Again, not life-changing money, but the coincidences were starting to feel like more than just coincidences. Day 5, the turning point. Day 5 is when things got really weird. I've been holding on to this feeling of wealth pretty consistently, and it felt like the world was starting to bend around it. That morning, I got an email from a client I'd worked with 6 months earlier. They said they'd done an audit and realized they underpaid one of my invoices by a lot. A wire transfer for an extra $1,200 was coming. I just sat there staring at the screen. I hadn't chased this money, it just fell out of the sky. But that wasn't even it. An hour later, a company I'd applied to months ago and just assumed had ghosted me sent an email. They had a new, more senior position open, thought I was a perfect fit, and wanted to interview me. The salary they mentioned was 30% higher than what I was making. It honestly felt like the floodgates were opening. I kept my end of the deal by assuming I was wealthy, and now opportunities were showing up in ways I never could have planned for. Day 6, generosity and flow. One thing I think is true about people who feel truly wealthy is that they're generous. They don't hoard every penny because they know money is just energy that needs to move. So on day 6, I decided to lean into that feeling. I bought a coffee for the person behind me in line. I left a bigger tip than I normally would at lunch. I donated a few bucks to a charity I like. These were small acts, but they came from a place of feeling like I had plenty. Each time I told myself there's always more where that came from. It felt amazing and totally broke my lifelong habit of clinging to every single dollar. And the flow didn't stop. That afternoon, I got a notification for a $320 refund for a flight I had canceled months ago. I had completely written that money off as a loss. The pattern was becoming crystal clear. The more I felt wealthy, the more my world rearranged itself to prove it. Day 7, the new normal. On the last day, I just felt different. That constant low-level hum of money anxiety was gone. It was replaced by this quiet confidence. I didn't have to try to feel wealthy anymore. It was just becoming my default setting. My morning routine wasn't a fight against my own brain anymore. It was just a peaceful, easy feeling of abundance. I spent the day just thinking about the week. Let's just recap the real, tangible results. An unexpected freelance project, a found $50 bill, a $175 settlement check, a $1,200 invoice correction, a surprise job interview for way more money, and a $320 flight refund. All told, that's over $1,700 in unexpected cash and a massive career opportunity that just appeared in 7 days. But honestly, the results you can't count were even bigger. My whole mindset had changed. I no longer see wealth as something out there that I have to chase. I see it as something inside me that I have to cultivate. I think I proved to myself that my own consciousness is the only thing that's real, and my assumptions, if I stick with them, eventually become facts.
This little 7-day experiment honestly changed my life. It showed me that Neville Goddard's ideas aren't just some feel-good theory. It's a real, practical way to create your own reality. The world really is a mirror. It just reflects back to you whatever state of mind you're living in. If you live in a state of feeling broke and desperate, you're just going to find more evidence for it. But if you dare to assume the feeling of already having what you want, the world has to bring it to you, and usually in the most surprising ways. This isn't about pretending your problems don't exist. It's about being very intentional about where you put your focus and your energy. It's about realizing that you're the one in the driver's seat of your own life. So, what about you? Are you tired of running on that financial hamster wheel? I really hope you'll try this for yourself. You don't have to commit to a whole week. Just try it for 1 day, or even for just 1 hour. Consciously choose to embody the feeling of the person you want to be. Assume your wish is already here and just see what happens. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Have you ever tried anything like this? What happened? And if this video resonated with you, please give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the power of our minds. You've got nothing to lose and a completely new reality to gain.